Now, slope is just really a rate of change. And here on page 190, looking at real world example 2 under the guided practice, we're asked to use slope as a rate of change. And we're given this scenario about downloads of songs. And it says in 2006, 500 million songs were legally downloaded from the internet. And in 2004, 200 million songs were legally downloaded. And then it says to use the data given to graph the line that models the number of songs legally downloaded, Y. That songs, in other words, on the Y-axis, the songs are going to be legally downloaded. That's the number of songs legally downloaded. As a function of time, X in years. So our horizontal axis would be the number in years. Then we're to find the slope of the line and interpret its meaning. And then third, we're to make a prediction that if the trend continues at the same rate, how many songs will be legally downloaded. Now, before I go to the next slide, and I decided to use Excel as my vehicle to graph this because the numbers were so large, 500, 200, 2004, 2006, and even if I use 4 and 6, I still can't get away from the 200 and the 500. Well, I guess I could use 2 and 5. I could have done some things. But anyway, it seemed like a good idea at the time. And so, but before I do, let's see, what would I use as my coordinates here? Well, I could say then that since X is the number of years, I could have them as my number one coordinates. Remember, I'm trying to find the slope of the line, then use the slope of the line. So I could say that 2004, 200 would be one coordinate, one ordered pair. That'd be my number ones. And then my second one I could say is 2006, 500. And I can use those two coordinates and actually create a graph. And then from that, I can determine, obviously, as long as I got two ordered pair, I can find my slope. And then we'll talk about how to do the trend, how to do the prediction, because that kind of jumps a little bit into the next chapter section. Once again, trying to make you think, but maybe a little bit before you're ready for that. So let's go here to the next slide. And so here you see that I've used Excel, and I've got Excel in here, and here I've got my years in my first column, 2004, 2006, and then I got the number of songs downloaded, 200, 500. And from that, and in Excel, I can just easily highlight these two columns, go into the chart area, and pick a scatter plot, which I did, and then insert a trend line, which is just a line connecting the two data points here and here. So 2004, I got 200 million. 2006, I got 500 million. All right, now I want to find my slope. Well, I got y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And so I'm going to say that these are my number twos. This is my number ones. The songs downloaded are y. The years are x. And let's just go. So I got 500 minus 200 over 2006 minus 2004. And let's see, 500 minus 200 is 300. And 2006 less 2004 is 2. And so I've got a slope of 150. That would be my slope. Now, it says interprets its meaning. Well, it's positive. It means my graph is going up and to the right. Things are increasing. The value of y is increasing as x is increasing. And so I could say that the number of songs are increasing. So we got an increasing scenario here in the number of downloaded songs. That's part B. Part A is the graph itself. Part B is what we just did. Now we're looking at C. If this trend continues at the same rate, how many songs will legally be downloaded in 2020. Now, we're going to be talking about something a little bit called slope-intercept, which is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope, m is equal to the slope, and b is the y-intercept. And therefore, let me get a little calculator out here right quick while I'm thinking about it. $50 times 16. I'm doing a little math ahead of time. Okay, yeah, that'll be cool. All right. Now, let's look at this graph. Well, I've calculated the slope. So if I'm trying to find y, and y in this case is how many songs are downloaded in the year 2020, prediction, and I've got a slope of 150, so I could say slope of 150x plus, now what's the y-intercept here? Well, the way I graph this, and since I started on the x-axis at 2004, my slope-intercept right there, that's where my graph intersects the y-axis, so I could say plus 200. Now, if I want to find and use this to predict how many songs are going to be downloaded in 2020, well, since x is the number of years, then I may say, well, okay, well, how many years is it between 2020 and 2004? Well, there's 16 years. So I can use this slope-intercept to say y times the slope, 150, times the number of years from 2004 to 2020, 16, plus 200. And remember, this is in millions. So let's see, 150 times 16 is 2,400 plus 200. That's going to equal 2,600. But again, I'm doing this in millions, so I've got how many zeros in the millions? I've got 6 zeros. So I got 2, 6, 1, 2, 2,600 plus 6 more zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's put some commas in here so I can read this a little bit better. And did I put too many zeros in there? No, I don't think so. Wow, that looks like almost 2.6 trillion, doesn't it? Okay. Lots of songs.